Chess is more than a game. It's strategy, it's intelligence, it's friendship. Welcome to my world. Welcome to my channel. The game has just begun.
Hi chess friends, today I want to show you the final of Chessable Master 2022. Last time I've done a video about the two semifinals. Carsten against Ding Liren, won Ding Liren, and Giri versus Praggnanandhaa and won Praggnanandhaa. So here we have the final match of Praggnanandhaa and Ding Liren. Here Ding plays with white pieces, Pragg with black pieces, and we can begin to show you this beauty because it's really amazing game. So d4 by Ding, knight f6 by Pragg, and c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4 to pin this knight, and now e3, castle by black, bishop b2, and now d5, a3 attacking this bishop, and now bishop e7, knight 3, b6, and now c capture for d5, e capture for d5, and now rook c1, typical development. We have c5 to put pressure on the d4 pawn, and now d capture for c5, b capture for c5, and now bishop d3. The idea is to bring the bishop out this diagonal and to put pressure on h7. Bishop g4 to pin this knight, and now h3 attacking this bishop. Here we have bishop h5 to continue to keep the pin for the knight, and now knight e2. A really strange move because here black captures this knight and ruins this pawn structure, the pawn structure of white with two half pawn, and but Ding decide to play this move, and Pragg here decide to capture this knight. So this is a good move, bishop capture for f3, but the idea of Ding after g capture for f3 is to use the g5, the open g5 to bring the rook here, and use the battery of queen and the pair of bishops that put pressure on g7, h6, h7, h6 square, and the rook come here. So really active position for Ding. Here we have knight d7, and now bishop c3 to put pressure on this knight. So now we have this two wonderful pair of bishops that are fully operational. We have rook e8, and now castle. I think this is a wonderful move. Everyone here should have played something like rook g1, but now if you play rook g1, your king here is not so safe because rook on e8 put pressure on this line, so you can't do a long castle. This is the best way to put your king, and I know seems a strange move, but the idea is to bring your king like on h2 to defend this pawn, and all is then to bring the rook here on g1. This is completely different by simply rook g1. So I consider this move a really impressive move. Castle by Ding, and now knight f8 by Pragg. We have a knight g3 to bring maybe the knight here, or knight f5 in the future to put pressure on g7 pawn, and now knight g6. Pragg prevents the attack on the g file and close with the knight, and now everything is well defended because the knight on f6 and the knight of g6 are take completely the safety of the black king. So here we have knight f5 like preventive to put pressure on g7, but Pragg consolidates the position and plays bishop f8, perfect, to defend the g7 pawn. Bishop b1, and because here Pragg could play like c4 So in this way, Ding prefers to bring the bishop on b1 because it's so far from attack of black pieces. Okay, so we have d4, and now we have e capture for d4, and now knight d5. The idea for Prague is to sacrifice some pawns to bring the knight here, knight f5, the queen can come here, and to do some threat of checkmate. So really interesting idea by Prague. But Ding accepts the challenge and continue to capture the pawn, and we have d capture so for c pawn. And now this is really important point of the game. Here we have 3 pawns by Ding, a lot of material because Ding is 2 pawns up, and the b and c pawn are so strong because are pass pawn. But from the other side, Prague has a super attack. I told you knight f4 is coming, queen g5 is coming, other knight can come to f4, so will be able Ding to defend from this attack? We will discover together. Queen g5, and now king h2, and now rook d8. Here you could play something like knight f4, but here follows simply rook g1, and now you prevent the checkmate on g2, so not the best move. Rook d8, and now queen a4. Really nice move of Prague. In this way he developed his queen and of Ding, sorry, and he wants to go on g4 to try to change the queen and to use his pass pawn in the endgame. But here we have a knight f4. In this way, Ding Prague attack and threats g2 for checkmate, and block this line, the 4 rank for the queen. So white queen can't reach the g4 square, okay, to try to change the queen. So rook g1 to defend from checkmate, and now queen h2 again to threat the checkmate. So the only move here is to play rook g3. In this way Ding defends the f pawn, f3 pawn, and h3 pawn, and now we have knight e2, a triple attack to these 2 rook, and for an attack for this bishop, because this bishop here is so strong, put pressure on g7 square, and this pawn is a target for Prague, the c pawn. But here we have simply rook g1. It's not important for Ding a rook. He decided to bring the rook on g5 to continue to put pressure on g7. And now we have a knight capture for g3. Prague decide to capture this knight. Rook capture for g3, and now rook e2 to put pressure on f2 pawn. This pawn is attacked. We have bishop d4 to defend this pawn, and now rook d2 to attack this bishop. Bishop e3. Now this rook is attacked and this pawn is well defended, and now we have rook d5 to attack this knight. But here we have simply rook g5. In this way Ding defends his knight and attack dark queen. We have queen capture for f3, bishop e4, and with a double attack to the rook and to the dark queen. So queen d1, and now simply queen capture for d1. You can't capture the rook. If you capture the rook, your queen is completely lost. So queen capture for a4. So you have to capture the queen. Queen capture for d1, rook capture for d1, and now we have this position where Ding block the terrible Prague's attack, and here Ding can use his pass pawn, really dangerous. So we have the c6, rook c8 to try to stop this pawn, but these 2 pair of bishop are so strong. Bishop capture for a7. Now we have this free pass pawn, killer pawn, f6, and now rook g1. Rook d2 attacking this pawn, and simply b4. Knight e5, and now b5, g6, bishop e3 to attack this rook, and now we have king h8, bishop capture for d2, pawn capture for f5, and now bishop d5, bishop d6 to discover with some check, but it's not important because here we have f4, and now the position is completely bad. Knight d3 to attack this pawn, but b6 by pawn, by ding. What a wonderful pushing pawn, way to create pass pawn. Knight for f4, and now bishop capture for f4, bishop capture for f4 check, king h1, and now h5, a4, king h7. This king is completely cut away from the game by this rook, and now a5, and this triple structure of pawns are stoppable, and this attack is too strong. Bishop d2 to attack this pawn, but simply a6, and now bishop e3 with the attack on this rook, but now rook b1, this pawn is defended and you can do nothing. Rook d8, and now simply a7 with the idea to push other pawn, and now the position is completely lost. You can capture the bishop, obviously white can promote to a queen, and in this way we have a champion of Chessable Master 2022, Ding Liren. What a player, and he will play really soon at candidate tournament, and I hope he will win because he deserves a lot, and he is such a strong player. So, and I want to do some congratulations to Pragu because he is such a prodigy, and what a genius player Pragu, so young but so incredible strong. He reached a second position here, and he beat two times Carlsen this year. So what a player, what a final. And this game is simply such a nice level with a BC pawn and a terrible attack by Pragu, but what a defense by Ding that controls everything and blocks this wonderful attack. So what a game, and I hope this video enjoy you. Like always, remember to subscribe to my channel, and thank you very much. We will see really soon with another video. Thank you, bye.